American writer Alex Haley once said, "Nobody can do for little children what grandparents do. Grandparents sort of sprinkle stardust over the lives of little children." Certainly all of us have had special people enter and leave our lives, but some have had a greater influence than others. My grandfather, Mr. Richard Holman, always has and will be there for me. My grampy is always strong, funny, and loving. Whether my grampy has been robbed, his house has been flooded, or he's been diagnosed with diabetes, he always stays strong. About 2 years ago, my grampy was robbed. During this robbery, many things were stolen, including his brand new MacBook. Now, if I were to be robbed, I would most likely panic at first and later become very angry. But when I saw my grampy less than a week after his misfortune, he didn't seem sad, and I didn't even know he had been robbed until after he left and my mother told me. This year, my grampy was robbed again. This time, the robbers took other possessions, including his new MacBook, which he had just purchased after the last incident. Again, he responded with grace and self-control. My grandfather's basement flooded last year. This forced him to throw away many of his cherished mementos because they were destroyed in the water. Lastly, my grampy is cautious about what he eats. He is really taking care of himself more than ever. This only shows me he's not going to give up because he's old. He wants to see my siblings and I grow up. He wants to be there for us. My grampy tells corny jokes. He laughs at his own jokes, even though we think they are lame. His reaction to these corny jokes is actually what we think is funny. He doesn't realize how funny he is when he's not even trying to be funny. Richard, my grandfather, is a very funny man. When my sister and I joke with my grampy, we call him Richard. My dad doesn't really like it when we call him that, but my mom finds it entertaining. Because we call our grandfather by his first name, he has decided to give us traditional nicknames. My sister's nickname is Martha, and my nickname is Susan. Why did he choose those names? I'm not sure. When we call him Richard, he refers to us as Susan and Martha. My family finds this hilarious, especially my brother. He gets a good kick out of it. Lastly, but definitely not least, my grampy is loving. When I was 3, I had a cyst in my neck. I had to have surgery to have the cyst removed. As soon as my surgery was over, my grampy came to the hospital with a big balloon and a teddy bear. This meant a lot to me because he could have just sent me a card at home. But my grampy came out of his way to come and visit me at the hospital, even though I only stayed for 1 night. I have kept this teddy bear for 11 years. I've gone through a lot of stuffed animals, as I am sure most of you have, but I have never kept a stuffed animal for 11 years. To this day, the teddy bear sits in a seat in the corner of my room. I can picture it now, white, furry, and it's wearing a white and navy shirt that says Children's Hospital on the front. I will always cherish this teddy bear. Whenever my grampy comes to visit, he always sits and talks with us. He likes to catch up on all the new things going on in our lives. Although my grampy asks a lot of questions, I never tire of talking with him. He is always so interested in anything we have to say. My grampy always kisses me on my forehead mid-conversation and tells me how proud he is of me. He always tells me how much he loves me. This is one of the many reasons I enjoy visiting him. My grandfather is the most amazing person I've ever met. Richard is strong, funny, and loving. And all this and more is what makes him the most amazing grandfather. I love you, Grampy.